I believe that most of the downgrades, especially in the hard climbing or bouldering, happen due to a beta break.
Hmm.
And in that case, it only takes one person. It's not really a question of consensus. And it's, I think, even wrong to think of grades as a question of consensus. And unfortunately, a lot of the people don't even give their own opinion. Like if they log the route under certain grade, it's not that they are giving out opinion, but they're just sticking to the guidebook grade.
Interesting.
Then there are certain boulders or routes where it's just so clear that the perceived grade is more depending on your height, for example. And I don't really have an opinion about how it should be. If you're shorter, if you can take the high grade. I think it's just more normal that people accept that short people might take a higher grade for like a morpho route. I
Right.
think certain grades it should be the opposite, but I think it's sort of never accepted.
Right. Says the tall guy.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I'm not like super tall either. Thankfully.
You said something there where you said grades aren't consensus or aren't typically consensus, but I guess my understanding is that grades are
Hmm.
consensus. So what do you mean by in the consensus idea there?
Like if in a perfect case scenario, like the root is absolutely not morpho, everybody uses the same beta, then and everybody is honest enough to express their opinion, then it is consensus. Then it should be based on the consensus. But I think that's very rarely the case.
And so what is the case more often then? A first ascensionist establishes a grade and then people just take that grade? Because you do see it's far more common, it seems like, to see downgrades than upgrades, although upgrades can and do happen.
Yeah. And I think really the downgrades are happening a lot due to different beta, which might include also usage of knee pads or using knee pads in a completely different way. It can be by the route changing and very often by the route being cleaner, which is, I think, sometimes that people don't really talk about too much.
Hmm.
Uh, like a lot of the virgin rock, especially on the limestone, if it just takes time to be properly cleaned. And once the holes are cleaned and they're like more comfy, like all these limestone spikes are not really biting into your skin, it can get like surprisingly easier, even though like the holes are not better, but just because the holes are more ergonomic, it's just you climb better and maybe more fluid on those holes.
All right, y'all. Quick second for our sponsor here. Would you like a free hat? Check this out, a free Struggle and Scarpa hat from our friends over at Scarpa. Right now, when you pick up a pair of climbing shoes, approach shoes, or trail runners using code STRUGGLE at checkout, you're going to score yourself this sick 5-panel hat for exactly $0. Let's go. And then also, you're going to be getting, of course, the best dang shoes in the game. For over a decade, I've been using Scarpas on the board, on the sets, and out on rock, as have crushers like Nathaniel Coleman, Alex Puccio, and Aiden Roberts, just to name a few. These shoes are amazing, y'all. Grab yourself some fresh rubber and a free hat using code STRUGGLE over at scarpa.com. That link is right down there in your show notes. Thank you for supporting the show. I appreciate it. Let's get back to this conversation. Just this thought too of like they're becoming new beta or new technology. So for example,
Hmm.
knee pads. I'm not sure how much you've thought about this, but one of your very famously hard routes, Change,
Hmm.
has seen a lot of repeats kind of more recently, and it
Yeah.
seems to be the new technology has probably come into play there. But I don't know if it's seen a downgrade, has it not?
Let's say it has seen a downgrade to 9B/9B plus.
Slash.
Yeah. I haven't tried it since then,
Okay.
but I think the route got radically easier.
Hmm.
My guess, and I'm fully aware it's just a guess since I haven't tried it, is that the route should be 9B. right now. But it's just my guess, so let's consider it as a guess, and my guess shouldn't be considered in terms of possible downgrade. But like the route changed in so many aspects that it's sort of hard for me to believe that it can be a soft 9B plus. But even in that, there are differences. I climbed it without knee pad. It was still in that era that I owned a knee pad, but I really didn't like it. It was mostly just in terms of like avoiding the pain. And like there are some very useful knee bars that just don't work without the rubber on your thighs. And even within in terms of change, the lower bolt round, if you're tall and flexible like me, the lower crux changes from my original beta AB plus to literally maybe 7C.
Wow.
Most people can't use this beta because they are either not tall enough or not flexible enough. And most people, I think, I are with the knee pads are more sort of using like maybe 8A plus beta, and that's a factor which is even hard to tell. Like, what is it? You know,
Right.
the beta that Seb one was using that I just tried just for myself is basically I put the knee bar and you just do a bunch of moves from the knee bar into like the very first good hold, and
Right.
only then you release it. Whereas like most of the other betas, you do two moves out of this knee bar, but you still have to hold those two small holds after you release the knee bar and do one hard move. Whereas like my original beta was like those two moves that you do off the knee bar were, I would say, even crux
Yeah.
that I did without the knee bar.
Yeah, it does seem like when I was watching a lot of those videos of people climbing last year and sending it relatively fast, it did seem like some of those sections were almost totally
Yeah.
different climbs. But when you think about that for boulders or for other routes out there, the the technology will probably continue to advance with regard to knee pads or shoes, but also different techniques will come in, right? So like competition climbers will bring in different ways to beta a various sequence. And does that make the route or the boulder itself easier, quote unquote, like a lower grade? Or is
Mm,
it just that people are climbing the hard thing in a much
yeah,
better way?
I think the grades. We should be way more flexible with changing your grades and adjusting to new technology or new techniques.
Hey, if you like this video, check out what I got going on over on Patreon. I've got over 100 hours of videos and bonus episodes with the absolute biggest names in rock climbing, from Adam Ondra to Magnus Mitbo, Alex Honnold, basically everybody under the sun. They're all right there, and you can watch them for free right now with a 7-day trial.